A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear respected brothers and sisters. All praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, we seek His forgiveness, and we seek refuge in Allah from the evil within ourselves and our evil deeds. Whoever Allah guides, there is none that can misguide him. Whoever Allah leads astray, there is none to guide him. I testify that there is no God but Allah alone, without partners, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His messenger and servant. In this video, we will be unveiling some of the mysteries of vibrations, energy, and frequency. So as I was going through my psychedelic journey and experiences, oftentimes there would be a very prevalent vibration happening at my chest area. It could have been anxiety induced by psychedelics, but the thing was, it didn't feel like anxiety. It just felt like pure vibration. And through this experience opened up my world of understanding vibrations, energy, and frequency, and how it affects us in profound ways or in a spiritual way of sorts, because the mind is a spiritual thing. Nikola Tesla said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Vibration plays a significant role in the fabric of reality, influencing various aspects of our existence. It is a fundamental concept that can be observed and studied across different scientific disciplines, including physics, chemistry, biology, and even metaphysics. Understanding the significance of vibration requires delving into various manifestations and implications. Beyond the scientific realm, vibration holds significance in metaphysical and spiritual contexts. Many belief systems propose that everything in the universe is composed of vibrating energy. According to these philosophies, different vibrational frequencies determine the nature of physical matter, emotions, thoughts, and spiritual realms. Concepts like resonance, energy healing, chakras, and the law of attraction are often associated with the significance of vibration in metaphysics. So seeing the sacred geometry and feeling the vibrations in my chest led me to do research after my trip was over and learn what I'm about to show you. But keep in mind that everything I'm showing you, that it isn't about Islam, are actually just the prerequisites to get you to understand the things later that I want to inform you about Islam. But inshallah, in the future videos, hopefully you'll understand what it is that I'm trying to tell you.
No matter how I look at it, how much research I do, I keep coming back to one guy that stands head and shoulders above all other researchers and inventors of, I don't know, for how many centuries. And that guy's name is Nikola Tesla. He says, if you want to find out the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's exactly what I've been sharing with you here. Everything in creation spins and vibrates. Everything has its own prime resonance frequency. Everything. And this is why once we can identify a prime resonance frequency of a bacterium or an atom or whatever it is, or a soccer field, we can then manipulate that object with its prime resonance frequency. In Christianity, it's the word. In Hinduism, it's Om. The Egyptians believed the universe was sung into creation, and the original people of Australia, not the Aboriginal, so it's the original people of Australia, believed that the world was created with 3 sacred songs. And then we have the phenomenal similarities between the 6 days of creation in Christianity and the word that created everything, the 6 aspects of Om, and the 6 aspects of the all-seeing eye of Horus, and you start seeing the connections between all these ancient cultures and the creation stories. Sound is the source of all creation. Sound and resonance is responsible for everything. By now you should know that sound manifests physical form, and this is the most basic example. I just cannot get enough of it. I can watch it millions of times. Every frequency has its own specific shape, a prime resonance frequency. Are you only looking at a 2-dimensional representation of a 3-dimensional effect? So the original people of Australia have a creation story that says time began when the supernatural beings awoke and broke through the surface of the earth. So imagine the surface of the earth being something like this, that metal plate being the surface of the earth, and the supernatural beings broke through the surface of the earth, and they created the surface of the earth with 3 sacred songs. This is from Hans Jenny's brilliant video, Cymatics. This is powder on a metal plate. It's not a liquid or a jelly, it's powder. You can see landscapes being formed here over extended periods of time. Mountains can form, valleys, volcanoes, all to do with the sound of the earth, coming out of the earth. Now watch that. The creators of the religious symbols knew exactly what they were talking about, that the source of creation is sound itself. And that takes us to what sound does. Sound pretty much does everything you can imagine because it's a source of creation. And this brings us to using sound as a tool in technology. Sound creates light. It's very obvious. We know that God said, let there be light, and you can do this yourself by attaching a speaker to an LED light and see what happens. Royal Raymond Rife, you should know by now, that cured with the man that found the cure for all disease with sound and resonance. It will convert to electric impulses, and sound continues to amaze us. Sound can levitate. By now, you would have seen this many times. Just a very quick idea that sound actually does levitate things, but this is not how the ancients used to levitate the very big, heavy objects. This is a very different technique used here. This is just pressure waves that can levitate things, very light objects, but it does give you the ability to imagine that sound actually levitates. Sound creates hurricanes. There are 2 guys in 2003 that lodged a patent to create hurricanes out of sound, believe it or not. And I believe they were granted their patent to create hurricanes. And maybe this is how they create the weather for us, without us even realizing it. And this is where we start getting into the real understanding of some of the masters. And no matter how I look at it, how much research I do, I keep coming back to one guy that stands head and shoulders above all other researchers and inventors of, I don't know, for how many centuries. And that guy's name is Nikola Tesla. He says, if you want to find out the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That's exactly what I've been sharing with you here. Everything is sound and magneticism, and this is really important. So what most people don't know is, remember, sound, God said, let there be light. So it's sound, moving sound. Sound manifests as toroidal fields. Those moving toroidal fields create magnetic fields, which are toroidal fields as well. And moving magnetic fields create electricity. That's the sequence of events. But this tells us that because sound creates magnetic fields, it means everything must have a must be magnetic in some sort. And in some sort of way. And if it's not, there's a very specific reason why it's not magnetic. So here's an example.
You might not think of water as being magnetic, but it is. And so are graphite, aluminum, and glass. Aluminum is a good example of a paramagnet. And so is oxygen, which is attracted to magnets. Here, I have a few milliliters of liquid oxygen, which sticks to the magnet. I'll explain why later. Gadolinium oxide and cupric sulfate are good examples of paramagnetic substances. Cupric sulfate is a salt that can be picked up by a magnet.
Here is a picture of an electron. There's a picture taken about a decade ago. They tell us that this is a light beam or electron riding a light beam. Can you see a particle anywhere in this picture? No, there's no particle. They're resonant waves, and yet they tell us it's an electron. Can you see how we get brainwashed? So this is what Nikola Tesla has to say about the electron from an interview in 1928. On the whole subject of matter, in fact, Dr. Tesla holds the view that are startlingly original. He disagrees with the concept of atomic theory of matter and does not believe in the existence of an electron as pictured by science. This is a shock to the system because we all think electrons are real. And you start seeing an agenda being developed here, an agenda being developed by mainstream universities, the mainstream scientific fraternity, under the guidance of those that are trying to lie to us and make us believe things that are not so. This is what Einstein has to say about the electrons. In the theoretical treatment of these electrons, we are faced with the difficulty that electrodynamic theory itself is unable to give an account of their nature. For since electrical masses constituting the electron would necessarily be scattered under the influence of their mutual repulsion unless there are forces of another kind operating between them, the nature of which has hitherto remained obscure to us. So he says, he doesn't quite understand how electrons come into being. And he tells us that millions of people all over the world are being fooled by the non-existing electron, and he has a lot more to say about this. And you start seeing that scientists and inventors and researchers over the last 200 years have been vehemently opposed to this whole concept of an electron and the atomic structure that has been forced down our throats and through all our educational institutions, that we just take for granted and we accept because we believe the guys that teach us this to be smart and they're not lying to us. We just accept the stuff. So what are the stone circles all about? By now you can see that clearly we're dealing with cymatic patterns. It's very obvious we're dealing with cymatic patterns. That's what every stone circle is. It's just a representation of the sound frequency that comes out of the earth at that specific point. That's what this is all about. And some of these cymatic, like sand on a metal plate, but now these are stones, right? Some of the structures are actually very distinct magnetrons. And of those flower shapes, every time you see a flower-shaped stone circle, it means they actually built an ancient giant magnetron like this. Magnetrons that can cut metal in a split second. And I asked two magnetron scientists, how much energy would a magnetron 40 meters in diameter generate? Remember that a tiny magnetron can create so much energy in a laser beam that cuts metal in a split second. I mean, it literally just melts the metal. Bzz. And the answer was that a magnetron that size would create more energy than all the power plants on Earth together combined. We have thousands of these magnetrons in southern Africa, thousands of them. So these guys are generating so much energy, it's insane. And we know this because we measured it. We measured the sound frequencies, the electromagnetic fields, the loudness in decibels. And it's just insane what's coming out of these stone circles. Adam's calendar is the most powerful of all these ancients of these stone circles. Adam's calendar is actually much, much more powerful. It's as if they all seem to be sending their frequencies to Adam's calendar, and that's like the collection point for all this, the energies created by all these millions of stone circles. That's what it seems like. So what we have at Adam's calendar is a very definite toroidal effect, and it's alive even today because we measured it. So when you look at ancient structures built out of stone, you realize that these guys knew exactly what they were doing. They understand that stone is the tool that carries with it, in it, information, storage capacity. It's an energy source, and that's why they used stone. Not because they were stupid, because they were very, very smart. We're the dumb ones, but we're catching up quite quickly. So what's very obvious now is that all these ancient structures, from the pyramids, Borobudur, etc., are all ancient machines. They were giant machines built out of stone, crystalline substance, to create or to perform specific functions. It's just the function that we haven't figured out. It's powered by the sound of the earth and activated by the movement of the sun. I mean, it's bloody brilliant. It's so simple. And now we're figuring this out, and we know that the energies are still there, because this is a photograph taken of the pyramids, and there's still huge energy coming out of the pyramids. Even the symmetrical patterns coming out of Stonehenge, although Stonehenge has been completely reconstructed, there's still very powerful symmetrical patterns coming out of Stonehenge that tells us that its original structure was very specifically created as a resonating device, an energy device. All this ancient stuff that we're dealing with, just like I said, these ancient machines are just advanced technology on a gigantic scale. These obelisks in Egypt, they ring like bells. If you listen to them, they ring like bells, just like those stones in my museum. And when you go into these temples in Egypt, we told that they were built for this and offering. It's all nonsense, offering and praying. It's just too many pillars, not enough space. When you look at them from this angle, you realize that this is just something very different. And all those pillars clustered together, why would they build them like that? And then the more I looked at it, the more I realized, now inspired by realizing that the stone circles were powerful energy generating devices, suddenly seeing aerial photographs of these temples in Egypt, I realized that they weren't temples, but they were actually templates. That we're actually looking at gigantic energy circuits, circuit boards on a gigantic scale that we could never have imagined. It's just beyond our imagination. The scale that these guys were building things on is something way out of our perception, because we just don't have enough money to do that. And macro processes, gigantic microprocessors become gigantic macro processes. And here we are told that these were places of worship, and then this is where the people lived. No, these are giant bloody macro processors, and that's part of the circuit board. It's what it is. And you can start seeing that the pyramids were the same thing, giant powerhouses, creating huge amounts of energy. And just, you start seeing things and recognizing how all this fits into ancient history. Sacsayhuaman is also just a giant circuit board. When you look at images from the air, you realize it's just a giant circuit board. It's not a fortress on top of a mountain to ward off marauding crowds and guys on horses and spears. No, it's a giant circuit board.
Hopefully you find this interesting.
Nikola Tesla, the greatest mind of all the time and also a man of mysteries, said that if you knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would have a key to the universe. So what did he mean by this? Had he found some code of the universe? In this video, I will tell you why did Nikola Tesla say this. After watching the video, you will understand how our whole universe is controlled by numbers 3, 6, and 9, and how they are present everywhere in the universe. You will also know how the numbers 3, 6, 9 represent a higher dimensional world, while rest of the numbers belong to our three-dimensional world. I will also discuss how number 9 is the controller of all the other numbers and how it can control even space and time. Here I will provide many mathematical and physical evidences and examples to prove how the number 9 is present everywhere and is the controller of all the other numbers and the universe. Our universe is so mathematical. Almost everything in nature is highly symmetrical and follows geometrical patterns. We can see these patterns in the form of golden ratio and Fibonacci sequence present in many things in the nature. Everything is made up of particles, and if we go deeper at even more microscopic level, we reach into the quantum world, which is pure mathematics. All the living things in this world are made up of cells. Multicellular organisms are formed by the division of a single cell. A single cell divides into two cells, then after division of both the cells, we get 4 cells. Then 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128 cells are produced. In this way, the doubling sequence continues, and finally, we have a full multicellular organism. Now let's try to understand this sequence mathematically. You can see here is a sequence of doubling of numbers starting from number 1, like 1, 2, 4, 8, and so on. Here the next number is double of the previous number. Now we will convert all of these numbers into a single digit number. For this, we will add the digits of the number until we get a single digit number. This final single digit is called the digital root of the number. So here you can see the digital roots of these numbers. Now observe the digital roots shown in orange color. Can you observe a pattern here? You will see a repeated sequence of numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. Even if you repeat it up to infinity, the same pattern repeats. Now, instead of doubling the numbers, let's halve the numbers repeatedly. This time also we will start with number 1. Add all the digits of the number and get the digital root as shown here. You will be surprised to see that this time too we get the same numbers repeatedly that we got in case of doubling the numbers. So in both the cases of doubling and halving the numbers, we are getting the same numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7 and 5. Did you notice one amazing thing here? In both the sequences, numbers 3, 6 and 9 are missing every time. In the diagram, these repeating numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7 and 5 are shown in white color. And the numbers that are missing in the sequence every time, that is 3, 6 and 9, are shown by yellow color. But what does the absence of numbers 3, 6 and 9 in the sequence mean? Does it point to any secret code of the God or some mystery of the universe? According to some researchers, numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, and 5 represent our three-dimensional world where we live in. An absence of numbers 3, 6, and 9 in the sequence means these numbers belong to a higher dimensional world. But what will happen if we double or half the numbers starting from number 3 or 6? Let's double the numbers starting from number 3. On doubling the previous number, we get the next number. Now find the digital roots of the numbers. You will be surprised after seeing the results. We will get only two numbers, 3 and 6, every time. Notice all the numbers that were present in the previous sequence are absent this time, and numbers 3 and 6 were completely absent in the previous sequences. Okay, let's do some more maths. This time we will halve the numbers repeatedly starting from number 3. Here are the numbers. Now again get the digital roots of the numbers by adding the digits of the number. And here is what we get. Amazing! This time also we get the same numbers 3 and 6. Hence, whether we double or half the numbers, if we start with number 3, we get numbers 3 and 6 only. Even if we double or half the numbers starting from number 6, we will get the same numbers 3 and 6 every time. But surprisingly, even this time, 9 is absent in the sequence. Actually, number 9 controls the numbers 3 and 6, and numbers 1, 2, 4 are controlled by number 3, while numbers 8, 7 and 5 are controlled by number 6. In this way, number 9 controls all the numbers. You will get incredible results when we start doubling and halving the numbers from number 9. We are getting only a single number, number 9. What will happen if we halve the numbers repeatedly starting from number 9? What you see? We are getting number 9 every time. No other number is present in the sequence. Even on adding the digits in the table of 9, we get number 9 only. So we see whether we double or half the numbers starting from number 9, we always get the number 9 only. It implies that number 9 represents itself. Now let me show you how powerful the number 9 is and how it is present everywhere in the universe. Let's start dividing a circle and see the sum of digits of the resulting angle. As we know that a full circle makes an angle of 360 degrees at its center. If we add the digits of 360, we get number 9. But what will happen if we keep on dividing the circle in half infinitely? The results that you will get will definitely boggle your mind. A semicircle makes an angle of 180 degrees at the center, which again adds up to 9. Now again divide the circle in half and we have an angle of 90 degrees. Find the digital root of the number, it's 9 again. Repeat the same process and we will get 9 as the digital root. Now see what will happen if we keep on dividing the circle in half repeatedly. Unbelievably, you will get number 9 as the digital root every time, even on repeating the same process infinite times. But is this true only for a circle, or does it apply to polygons also? Here is a triangle. We know that sum of all the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. On adding the digits of the number, we get 9. In case of a rectangle also, if we add the digits of the sum of all the interior angles of a rectangle, which is 360 degrees, we get number 9. Now we have a pentagon. Sum of all the interior angles of a pentagon is 540 degrees, which also adds up to 9. We get the same digital root 9 on repeating the same process for hexagon, heptagon, and octagon. If we keep on increasing the number of sides of the polygon, we will get the same number 9 every time. Did you notice an amazing thing here? When we were dividing the circle in half repeatedly, we were reaching the singularity of space. As every time we got number 9, it means number 9 follows the space up to its singularity. And when we were increasing the number of sides of the polygon was looking like a circle. As the number of sides of the polygon approaches infinity, it becomes a circle. As in all the polygons, we got number 9, it means number 9 also follows a space up to infinity. So it is clear that number 9 is present from singularity of space to the infinity of space. Now I will give you some more examples that will help you in believing that number 9 exists at all the places in the universe. Does number 9 has any relationship with time also? Yes, of course. It proves that number 9 is present everywhere in space and time. This is not all. If we talk about Hindu religion, we will find number 9 at different places. It has been found by the researchers that our universe vibrates at a frequency of 432 Hz. This 432 Hz also reduces to 9. A well-known symbol of Om on pronouncing correctly produces a frequency of 432 Hz, the frequency at which the universe vibrates. On observing the shape of the Om symbol, it appears to be a combination of 3, 6 and 9 with number 9 at the top of 3 and 6. A sacred number in Hinduism, 108, reduces to 9. Number of chapters in Srimad Bhagavad Gita is 18. Mahabharata war lasted for 18 days. Number of warriors left alive after the Mahabharata war was 18. Now I will prove how number 9 represents everything and also nothingness. Actually, number 9 is same as number 0 in some sense. But how? Let's understand it. In any number, if we replace 0 by 9, then there is no change in the digital root of the number. one more thing, as we get 0 on multiplying any number by 0, in the same way we get number 9 as the digital root on multiplying it with number 9, since 0 is same as 9. Let me tell you one more amazing fact about number 9. If we add all the numbers except number 9, that is from number 0 to number 8, the sum reduces to number 9. Hence we can say that number 9 represents all the other numbers. It represents itself and also nothingness and everything. Number 9 is the king of all the numbers that controls all the other numbers and space-time. So friends, this was all about the mystery of numbers 3, 6 and 9.
And so I want to finish with a verse from the Quran that reads, "And who created 7 heavens in layers? You do not see in the creation of the Most Merciful any inconsistency." And of course, this is talking about on the grand scheme of things. We're not talking about like mutation and maybe birth defects and stuff. That if you looked at all the things in the universe, it all has precise measurement. That it's as Galileo said. He said the laws of nature are written by the hand of God in the language of mathematics. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.